welcome to the second edition of the Goodwin Boxing Preview Shows, where we're going to look back at what's happened in the previous week or so of boxing and look forward to the two shows ahead. Well, this week we're going to be looking at the September 21st shows. Firstly, the Warren show at the Copperbox, and secondly, the Olympia Liverpool show with Matchroom, featuring the Matthews against Woodhouse Commonwealth title fight. But firstly, I think it's very important to say that we lost a very experienced and good boxing man in Dean Powell last week. I was with him at his last boxing show, which was at Olivia's show at the Ball in the Hall, where he cornered for Ian Lewison and also for JJ Ujadiri. And I received a phone call from Dean on the Sunday after the show, and all he did was wanted to say what a great job that Olivia and I were doing for boxing. And I do feel now that he was obviously making the rounds and saying what he wanted to say to people before what happened to him happened. And I think boxing misses a great matchmaker. People do have varying opinions on Dean. They will have obviously had conflict and also good things with him. But it's very sad that a man that gave so much to the sport has ended his life this way. But let's move on to the boxing shows. And we're going to firstly cover the state of the heavyweight boxing division first. I'm joined here on my left by AJ Carter, the exciting new heavyweight, who's 2-0 from 2 fights. And on my right hand side, I'm joined by my son Josh, who goes for his promoter's license in November, and if successful will be the youngest promoter in the world. And he's very much looking forward to that. As far as the heavyweight division is concerned, Ian Lewison, as we know, defeated Tom Dallas in 2 rounds, and he's now been mandated to fight John McDermott for the English heavyweight title, with the contest scheduled to happen before the end of December this year. The David Price British situation, the board have deferred making a decision on that until October, so we will see what the board decide to do with that. But I think it's without doubt that the winner of Lewison and McDermott will get a crack at the British title within the foreseeable future. Well, as far as that fight, AJ, is concerned, the Lewis and McDermott fight, how do you feel that will go?
I think it depends on what McDermott and what Lewison show up. That's mainly the key thing to it.
In terms of?
McDermott's known to sometimes crack under pressure. Ian's known to sometimes show up unfit, so depending on which one of them show up is how the fight with them.
And if they both turn up in reasonable condition?
I think it will be a good fight. I think probably Ian would have advantage over McDermott, but it would be a good fight. It would be an entertaining fight.
Josh, what do you think?
I completely agree with AJ there. Everything he said I agree with. Couldn't change a word, yeah.
You just feel it's going to depend on who turns up in what
Definitely.
condition. And how did you feel Ian's condition was for the Dallas fight?
I think it was one of his career lowest weights, and he came out was explosive, but whether he could have carried that on for 4, 5, 6, 7 more rounds, you don't know, but he got the job done, so can't complain.
I mean, it was exciting, wasn't it? I think a lot of people thought that was one of the heavyweight fights of the year, so hopefully we'll see more of that with Fury against David Hay later this month. And do you have a view on the Fury-Hay fight? Do you have an opinion on who you think will win it?
I mean, not really, to be honest. I mean, it's boxing, anything can happen. You would favour David Hay, but I think David Hay will test Fury and see how resilient he really is. But David Hay's a known puncher, so we'll see what kind of shots Fury can really take, and we'll see how deep he can dig to get the job done.
So he's going to have to dig deep, Tyson Fury, for this fight, isn't he? I think there's no doubt that he's a real warrior, and if you're talking about somebody who's got a lot of heart, he's got it. But the vulnerabilities he's shown in being put down by cruiserweights, that's obviously going to be the issue. I mean, do you feel it's a one-sided fight?
I think it all depends what game plan Tyson Fury has. If he gets close, David Hay leans on him, tires him out, takes him past 7 or 8. He's in with a good shout, but I think Hay will probably win by stoppage.
And just talking about the heavyweights, if you go down the rankings, the next big fight is the Derek Chisora fight against Edmund Gerber. That's at the Copperbox next week. Derek gets his chance of a European heavyweight title. There's no doubt that he was robbed against Hellenius, but he's now got a chance against Edmund Gerber. I've got my own opinion on the fight. I mean, do you know anything about Gerber? Have you watched him at all?
I don't really know much about Gerber. I've seen 1 or 2 of his fights, but I can't judge him on just them. Chisora again is another guy who's hot and cold. Recently, he's coming out in good shape. Seems to be motivated to fight. But like I said, I don't know much about Gerber and his history and what he's like temperamentally, so I can't really give my fully informed opinion of that.
You watched a bit of Gerber, haven't you?
Yeah, I think Derek's going to be a clear winner here. With possibly a late stoppage or wide points.
I've got to say, I think Gerber is one of the most overhyped European fighters. I think, I would have loved to have put Ian Lewison in with Edmund Gerber. We were offered the fight, but unfortunately Ian wasn't in training at the time. We asked for the fight with a bit of notice. I think Ian would have absolutely gone and destroyed Gerber. So if I believe that, I've got to feel that Derek Chisora will do the same. I think Gerber's overrated, overhyped, and I think Derek will absolutely destroy him and look good doing it. Good fight to watch, but I think this is Chisora's all day long. It'll be one of boxing's great upsets if Derek can't beat Gerber, in my opinion. So let's just look at the Copperbox fights. It's headed by Billy Joe Saunders against John Ryder. Now we know John Ryder, he's fought on some of our shows before and he's trained by Tony Sims. Billy Joe's obviously making great strides. It's a match that went to purse bids. Frank Warren's team won the purse bids and it's off at the Copperbox in a historic first event there. Have you got a view on the Billy Joe Saunders John Ryder fight?
They're 2 of my favourite fighters at the moment, to be fair. But I'm really undecided. I think most people are going to lean towards Saunders, but I think John Ryder is a very good boxer. So I'm quite split, but I think Saunders will probably just edge it, but I wouldn't be surprised if Ryder comes out victorious.
I mean, I think the thing with Billy Joe Saunders is, if you want to be ultra critical, is he's shown a lack of power in recent times, hasn't he? And that is, I often believe that to go to that next level and the higher level, you need that power. I think he's a brilliant boxer, but there are doubts about power wise. We'll have to see. I mean, are these fighters that you watch at all, or?
I've watched a few of Billy Joe Saunders' fight. I just think he's always done what he's needed to do to get the job done, and that's the main thing. You can't really ask much more from a boxer. He's a very highly rated amateur, good amateur background. He's been getting rid of most of his guys, to be fair. So can only really lean towards him.
Yeah, my views. I think Billy Joe will win, probably, but probably points. I'm not sure he's got the power to stop John Ryder.
I don't think it's a clear cut decision.
No,
I think like I said, you could lean towards Billy Joe, but like Josh said, it wouldn't be a surprise.
Yeah, I mean the show itself's got six title fights. It's an absolutely fantastic show that they're staging at the Copperbox, and the third title fight is the British and Commonwealth welterweight title, Frankie Gavin against David Barnes.
Gavin on points, I think. David Barnes, don't see him pushing Gavin at all. So.
No, I agree. I think it's a Gavin fight. And then we've also got a Commonwealth title fight between Liam Walsh and Joe Murray. I think that's a one-sided fight for Liam Walsh. I've been so unimpressed with Joe Murray.
Yeah, I've seen him a few times. He hasn't impressed me once really. So.
I mean, he struggled against Dan Naylor, who Michael Devine fought for the Southern Area title, didn't he?
Dan Naylor isn't a bad fighter though, but I still think Liam will win, yeah.
I mean, but you wouldn't put Dan Naylor in with Liam Walsh, would you?
No.
And I think Dan's a great fighter down at the Southern Area level, but he's not Commonwealth title material, is he? Do you know these guys at all or not?
I think Frankie Gavin would win by stoppage.
Yeah.
But the other 2 guys, I know of them, but I don't really watch them, to be fair. It's no disrespect to them, but...
Yeah. And we've got Paul Butler fighting for an Intercontinental title against the Mexican Miguel Gonzalez. He's 17-0, the Mexican. His record is beaten nobody. Paul Butler's really making great strides, and I'm sure that's a match that the Warren team know what they're doing, and on that basis I can't see Butler getting beat. And then there's a nice little Southern Area scrap between Mitchell Smith and Scott Moises. Mitchell Smith is the real up-and-coming stars from the Warren stable, trained by Jason Rowlands. And he's fighting Scott Moises, who really gives it a go, Scott, doesn't he?
He does give it a go. He's beat him. I remember he came onto one of our shows and he as the away fighter won, so he gives it a go.
Yeah, and the thing about Scott Moyes is I don't think a lot of people know is he's a young lad that's a boxer and he recovered from cancer to become a boxer. So the guy's obviously a fighter. And I was speaking with his trainer Graham Everett, and they really believe they're going to win this against Mitchell Smith. And I think, despite everybody thinking Mitchell Smith it's a walkover, I think it's going to be a great fight to watch. I think Mitchell Smith's great talent, but I think Scott's going to give it a fight, and I think it's a great fight. You know, and if we look on this card here, we've got Billy Joe Saunders Ryder. I think Chisora's a one-way traffic, but it's still going to be good to watch. I think Gavin wins fairly easily. Walsh probably does. Butler does. Smith Moyes is a good fight. I just think it's a good bill overall. But moving on to the other main TV bill of the night, the Sky Sports bill, Eddie Hearn promotes up in Liverpool, and the main fight is between two Dave Coldwell fighters, Derry Matthews and Curtis Woodhouse, for the Commonwealth lightweight title. And the interest for us is that the guy that we promote, Richard Comey, our Ghanaian banger, who's got rid of everybody in 16 fights and nobody's seen the final bell, he's mandated to fight the winner by January. So we'll be keen to watch, and we hope whoever wins will want to defend rather than move on to other pastures, because Richard's gunning for you. So the Derry Matthews Curtis Woodhouse fight. Any views, Josh?
I'm undecided here. Derry Matthews, I don't think it's the same fighter he once was. I might be wrong in here, but I think he showed against Coyle that he wasn't the same fighter. I think Derry Matthews old would have won easy against Coyle, but he got the stoppage, but he struggled losing the rounds easy. I don't know how good Curtis Woodhouse is, to be honest with you. Every time he stepped up, he has been beaten. So.
And what you do know is Curtis Woodhouse is a warrior, doesn't he? He tries really, really hard. And I think Derry Matthews has been a credit to boxing, hasn't he? But I'm not sure. You know, my view is he's not the fighter he was. And for Richard Comey, I think he's a perfect opponent for Richard Comey. So if Derry wins, we'll be very, very confident of relieving him of the Commonwealth title. Second fight, Liam Smith, Eric Okieng. Do you know Eric at all? London-based middleweight?
I know of him. I don't really know him that well.
Yeah, he's not. I mean, Eric is another fighter that's fought on our show in the past, isn't he? And he's up against Liam Smith. Do you have a view, Josh?
I think that's going to be a very, very close fight. I think a split decision either way will be most likely.
I mean, it's a great fight put together by Matchroom as well, for sure.
That's two great fights there.
Yeah, it's amazing. I mean, even though, you know, I think as a boxing purist and a fan, you want to see the Derry Matthews Curtis Woodhouse fight. I know that the Comey management team felt that they were due Derry Matthews, and that's what was agreed, but we don't want to go into that. I think for the boxing fan, this is a fantastic fight, and for me,
I think it will be a good fight based on the fact that Derry Matthews isn't as good as, or isn't the same fighter as he once was, and the fact that Curtis Woodhouse always, no matter what, gives it a go. Like Josh said, whenever he stepped up a level, he's always come up short. Would like him to win, but I think I'll probably edge towards Matthews.
I think it'll be a great fight, and I'm glad Curtis Woodhouse has got a chance. It'd be great for him to have his day, and you know, if he wins, then it's fantastic for somebody coming from football. You know, to do that, and there's a lot of them doing that now. I mean, we've seen Leon McKenzie come out and do it. And now we've just signed a footballer called Leo Roger, who's just going through his licence processing, and he comes from professional football as well. So a lot of footballers obviously want the buzz of boxing. They can't be earning as much as they do out of football, though, can they?
I think for Woodhouse, though, it would be kind of like the icing on his cake for him if he was to come through it. And I wish him the best.
Yeah, it's credit to boxing. Both of those guys, Derry Matthews and Curtis Woodhouse, credits to boxing. It'll be a great fight to watch. Rocky Fielding fights a Ghanaian import, Mohamed Akrong, for the Commonwealth Super Middleweight title, and I think I think that's all there for Fielding to win, isn't it? I mean, you know, let me tell you that we do see a lot of Ghanaian imports brought over to get beaten. Richard Comey's not one of them. He's here to win, and I think we'll be seeing a different result when we bring a Ghanaian over that's got proper British promoting and proper British management and staying over here and fighting from here and training from here. I think we'll see a difference. It's okay bringing the imports in, but we want to see it happen where we get a Ghanaian that's got the proper preparation. Callum, now one fight on that bill that I really love is Callum Smith, Patrick Mendy. I think that's an absolute cracking fight, isn't it?
I believe,
Do you know Patrick?
I don't know Patrick as much, but I do know Callum, and I know he's a good fighter. I like him. I like watching him box. He always gives him the show. So So I think he'll come through it, man.
Yeah, and what do you feel? Because you know the both well, don't you?
Yeah, I think I'm quite surprised they've matched him so early on. He hasn't really had a test. Callum Smith stopping it, I think it's his last 5. So maybe they stepped him up too quickly, but I do think he'll edge it on points.
I think that's good though. I think that will show that we'll be able to gauge what he's made of and where he's at. So
Patrick Mendy's no mug, that's for sure.
I like that.
I mean, the thing with Patrick is, I mean, I've met Patrick a couple of times. I just find him a little bit wayward, and I don't know really why he's on the road fighting, taking these fights on the road. It doesn't make any sense for somebody with his talent. And I think if he gets beat by Callum Smith, his career is really on the doldrums. I think it's a crossroads fight for Patrick, but he's got massive talent. But you know, I think it's he may call it right, but I think it's a step too far for him. I think Callum Smith will win. And I think the big thing about the fight is Patrick has won 14 fights, but only 1 stoppage. So I don't think he's got the power to keep Callum Smith off.
Well, like I said, I think Callum will win. I would like to see him win comfortably. I don't know whether he will or not, but like I said, I do like him. I've watched him from the amateurs.
Well, they say he's the best of the Smith four brothers, isn't he?
Yeah.
If he is, he's
from
very special.
what I've seen, no disrespect to the others, but from what I've seen, I believe he is. I think he's got the most potential there anyway.
No, it's been nice. I mean, it's going to be a great fight. So we've got 2 fantastic shows next week, and here at the Goodwin team, we're preparing now for our show at the Watford Coliseum. We're bringing boxing back to Watford for the first time in 4 years. The 2 local lads, Liam and Miles Shinkwin, are on the show. We've also got Tyler Goodjohn fighting for an international masters title. But we've also got 3 heavyweights fighting. My man AJ here, he's on the bill. Ian Lewison, who's going to be fighting McDermott. He's not sitting at home on the sofa. He's out there training, ready for a fight at Watford. So come and see the real exciting heavyweight Ian Lewison. And our signing from Hatfield, Tom Little, he makes his first fight since signing with us. So we've got some real heavyweight action, some local action. It's going to be a show not to be missed at Watford Coliseum. So get in touch with tickets. And we mustn't forget on that show, we've got the debut of the exciting David Leo, the featherweight, who's trained by Peter Sims, who's Tony's brother, and they train in that gym. So I can't wait to see the David Leo debut. And another local head, Danny Murphy, makes up the rest of the card. So it's a really exciting card at Watford. We'll talk about that more as we get nearer the time. I'd like to thank AJ for coming in today and helping us with this show, and Josh obviously on my right. So until next time, we'll be on again at the start of next week to preview the next show's boxing. Thanks a lot for watching, and we'll speak again soon.